All right, listeners, get ready for this one. We're going deep into Macrogenics and their Q3 earnings call.
Always an interesting one, Macrogenics.
Oh, yeah. We've got the transcript, of course, and the stock charts.
We've even got some of that juicy analyst chatter, you know?
Ooh, the whispers.
Yeah, see what they're saying behind the scenes?
I love it. So Macrogenics, they're kind of walking this tightrope, wouldn't you say?
That's a great way to put it. They've got Vobrduo, their lead candidate, which could be huge.
Huge.
But they've also got a whole bunch of other therapies they're working on.
It's a lot to handle.
It's a full plate for sure.
So let's start with those headline numbers because, wow, revenue is up.
Up is an understatement.
I mean, they totally blew past earnings estimates, right?
Yeah, but there's always a but with these things.
Yeah, that's the catch.
Well, that $110.7 million in revenue, that's a huge jump from $10.4 million last year.
That's got to be some kind of record.
It is, but it's not all organic growth.
What do you mean?
A big chunk of that, like a $100 million chunk, is from a milestone payment.
Ah, from a deal.
Exactly, from Incyte for retifanlimab.
Okay, so one-time thing.
Right, a nice boost, but not from their core products.
Which brings us back to Vobrduo, right? Their golden child.
Vobrduo, yeah, that's the one everyone's watching. It's this antibody drug conjugate, or ADC.
ADC, got it.
And it targets B7H3, which is like a bullseye on cancer cells.
So it's a targeted therapy.
Exactly. And everyone's waiting for the Tamarack trial results.
Tamarack, that's for prostate cancer, right?
Metastatic castration-resistant prostate cancer, to be precise.
A mouthful.
But a serious one, very tough to treat. So if Vobrduo works here, it's huge.
Like game changer. Huge.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But they've stopped dosing patients in the trial, haven't they?
They have. They're still monitoring them.
Yeah.
But no new patients.
And we don't get final data until 2025.
Early 2025, yeah.
So what did they say about it on the call?
Not a whole lot. Very cautious, you know.
Reading between the lines.
Yeah, they kept saying the interim data was immature. They need more time, more data before they can say anything definitive.
So when that Tamarack data does drop, what should we be looking for?
Progression-free survival, that's the big one.
Has the drug actually slowed down the cancer?
Right. And we need to see a significant improvement over current treatments.
To justify all the hype.
Exactly. Then there's safety, of course.
Side effects can be a deal breaker.
For sure. And finally, the competitive landscape.
Who else is out there?
There are other companies targeting B7H3, so Vobrduo needs to stand out.
It's a tough crowd.
It is, but Macrogenics is actually being pretty smart about this.
How so?
They've got three B7H3 targeted therapies in development.
3. Seems like overkill.
Not really. It's like hedging their bets.
So if one fails...
They got others to fall back on, plus each one uses a slightly different approach.
Oh, I see.
So they could target different patient groups or even different types of cancer later on.
So tell me about these other candidates. How are they different from Vobrduo?
Well, you've got MGC026, another ADC, but with a different payload.
A different one.
Payload. It's like the warhead of the missile, the part that actually kills the cancer cells.
Ah, got it.
And then there's a noblituzumab.
That one sounds complicated.
It's a monoclonal antibody, not an ADC.
So a different approach altogether.
Yeah, it basically helps the immune system fight the cancer.
By targeting B7H3.
Exactly. So Macrogenics is attacking B7H3 from all angles.
Full-on assault.
Yeah.
And they're not just doing it alone, are they?
Nope, lots of partnerships.
Like with Gilead?
Yep, Gilead, Tercera, they're working with several big players.
Why so many partnerships?
Well, for one, it helps share the costs and the risk of drug development.
Makes sense.
Plus, it gives them access to expertise and resources they might not have on their own.
So like a win-win.
Pretty much. And speaking of big changes, there's also the CEO transition.
Right, Scott Konic stepping down.
After nearly 25 years, it's a big deal.
End of an era.
But from what he said on the call, he seems pretty confident about the future.
They're in a good position.
Diverse pipeline, strong financials, a clear strategy.
Sounds promising.
The board is searching for a new CEO now. They expect a smooth transition.
So, lots happening with Macrogenics. Exciting times.
Definitely exciting, but also a bit nerve-wracking.
High stakes.
That's biotech for you.
So before we get too carried away with the future, let's talk money.
Always a good idea.
What's the financial picture like for Macrogenics?
Actually, pretty healthy, I'd say.
Really?
They ended the quarter with over $200 million in cash and equivalents.
Plus that upfront payment from Tercera, right?
$40 million right there.
Yeah.
Plus potential milestones from other deals.
That's a decent cushion.
It gives them runway well into 2026 plenty of time to execute their plans.
That's reassuring, especially with all the uncertainty around Vobrduo.
And the CEO transition.
So financially, they're in a good spot.
They are, but of course the big question is, what does it all mean for investors?
It's a million-dollar question.
Macrogenics. Buy, sell, or hold. Let's break it down. Macrogenics is a tough one to figure out, even for people who've been doing this a while.
It really is. They've got so much going on.
Yeah, tons of potential, but a lot riding on those Tamarack results.
Like they've got the winning lottery ticket, but haven't scratched it off yet.
Exactly. Speaking of potential, though, let's talk about lorigerlimab.
Lori, it's your one now.
Lorigerlimab, it's part of their bispecific antibody program. And this is where things get really interesting.
Bispecific antibodies, those sound pretty high-tech.
They are. Imagine a therapy that can hit 2 targets at once, like a double whammy against cancer cells.
Double whammy, I like the sound of that. But how does that even work?
So bispecific antibodies, they're these specially designed molecules that combine to 2 different proteins at the same time.
Okay, and in this case, what are those 2 targets?
With lorigerlimab, it's PD-1 and CTLA-4.
Now, those sound familiar, but remind me, what are they again?
They're checkpoints on the immune system. Yeah, they're like brakes that prevent the immune system from going into overdrive and attacking healthy cells.
But cancer cells can use those checkpoints to hide, right?
Exactly. They can trick the immune system into thinking they're harmless. But lorigerlimab comes in and blocks both of those checkpoints at the same time.
So it takes the brakes off the immune system.
Exactly. It allows the immune system to recognize the cancer cells and attack them with full force.
That's amazing. And they're testing this in a trial called LORIKEET.
Yep, LORIKEET is a phase 2 trial combining lorigerlimab with docetaxel, which is a standard chemotherapy drug.
And what type of cancer are they targeting with this trial?
Same as Tamarack, metastatic castration-resistant prostate cancer.
So they're going head-to-head with Vobrduo again.
It seems that way. They're really putting lorigerlimab to the test.
So what are they hoping to see in this trial?
The primary endpoint is progression-free survival, just like with Tamarack.
They want to show that lorigerlimab can delay the progression of the disease.
Exactly, and we should be getting some data from LORIKEET in the first half of 2025.
Another one to mark on the calendar. But didn't they also try combining lorigerlimab with Vobrduo at some point?
You're right, they did. It was like a super combo hitting the cancer cells with everything they had.
Sounds intense. But what happened with that trial?
They decided to pause it for now.
Why? Was there a problem?
Not that we know of. It seems like a strategic decision.
Like they want to see how Vobrduo performs on its own first.
Exactly. They want to have all the data from Tamarack before making any further decisions about combinations.
Makes sense. But even without the combo, lorigerlimab seems like a pretty big deal.
Oh, it is. And it's not their only bispecific antibody in the works. Remember MGD024, the one they're developing with Gilead?
Yep, the one with the big pharma backing.
It's
It's targeting CD123, right?
You got it. And Gilead is pretty excited about it. They even have the option to fully license it down the line.
That's a good sign. So they've got the bispecific antibodies, but let's not forget about the ADCs.
How could we? ADCs are still a major focus for Macrogenics, and they've got another one in development.
Besides Vobrduo.
Yep, it's called MGC028, and it targets 8AM9.
8AM9, another one of those protein targets.
It is. 8AM9 plays a role in tumor growth and spread, so it's a good target for cancer therapy.
And this new ADC, it's using a different kind of payload, right?
Yep, a topoisomerase 1 inhibitor. This one messes with the cancer cell's ability to copy their DNA.
So it's a different way of attacking the cancer cells.
Exactly. And they're moving pretty quickly with this one. They've already filed an IND with the FDA.
IND, meaning they're getting ready to start clinical trials.
Yep, could be another potential blockbuster in the making.
It's amazing how much they've got going on. It's like they're covering all the bases.
They are. They're really committed to innovation and pushing the boundaries of cancer treatment.
But amidst all this excitement, let's not forget about the elephant in the room.
The CEO transition.
Yep. It's a big change, and it could have a significant impact on the company.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see who they choose as Scott Konic's successor.
And what direction they take the company in.
Will they double down on B7H3? Focus more on bispecific antibodies. It's anyone's guess at this point.
It's like a new chapter in the Macrogenics story. And we get to see how it unfolds.
Exactly. So to sum it up, Macrogenics is a company with a lot going on, a lot of potential, but also a lot of risk.
It's a classic biotech story, High risk, high reward.
And that's what makes it so exciting.
Okay, so we've covered a lot with macrogenics.
A lot of ground, yeah.
Vobrduo, the bispecific antibodies, even that crazy spin-off idea.
Which was just for fun, of course.
Always good to think outside the box, though.
Absolutely. But before we wrap up, what are the key takeaways here? What should people be watching for?
Yeah, let's zoom out and look at the big picture.
Macrogenics, they're at a really interesting point right now.
Crossroads, maybe?
Yeah, that's a good word for it. They've got this amazing pipeline, solid financials, a clear strategy.
But there's also a lot of uncertainty, right?
Of course, that's biotech for you.
Like with Vobrduo, the Tamarack data is going to be huge.
Make or break, potentially.
And then there's the CEO transition.
A new leader could take the company in a whole new direction.
It's exciting, but also a little nerve-wracking.
High risk, high reward, right?
Yeah, that's the name of the game in biotech. So what's your advice? What should people be paying attention to?
Well, first and foremost, those Tamarack results.
Early 2025, right?
Yep. If the data is good, Macrogenics stock could take off.
But if it's bad?
Could be a tough time for investors.
So definitely a key event to watch. And beyond that,
The CEO, search who are they going to pick to lead the company.
what kind of experience will they have? What's their vision for the future?
Big questions for sure. And then, of course, there are other programs.
The bispecific antibodies, the other ADCs?
They're doing some really innovative stuff, could have multiple blockbusters down the line.
It's an exciting time for macrogenics, lots of potential.
But as always, we have to remember that biotech is risky.
No guarantees. Do your own research, talk to a financial advisor, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. So, to wrap things up, Macrogenics, a company with a compelling story, a bright future.
But a lot of uncertainty, too.
We'll be watching closely to see how it all plays out.
It's going to be an interesting ride, that's for sure.
This is Talk Tickers signing off.